sports.
We are the Fourth. We are South.
After a late night and early morning today, let's try it again. It's the Orioles and the Braves, game 2 of 3 here at SunTrust Park. It should be a big crowd and a beautiful afternoon for Braves baseball. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe, welcome back to Atlanta. 15 innings of baseball were needed to decide game 1. It went the Orioles' way, 10-7 a final score. 8 innings of relief worked by the Braves relief corps, Joe. That means starters are on the spot today, and Julio Teheran's got the ball. Hopefully he can do today what he did in his last start here at SunTrust Park.
The guys in the bullpen are certainly hoping so. They will have a little help today because Arodys Vizcaíno is available today, so he's got some added help down there for all the guys that worked last night. Julio Teheran, his last outing, outstanding. He came back from missing some games because of a sore thumb, and he was brilliant against the Padres. 6 innings without allowing a hit. He didn't allow a run. He was terrific. He struck out 11 guys. Right here you'll see, though, he came off the mound his last inning. We were worried that he had rolled his ankle, but it turned out just to be a cramp, so he's okay to go today. And when he does go 6 or more innings, there's 9 of those type starts. He's got a brilliant ERA. Let's hope he can go deep into the ball game today.
Lock horns with Dylan Bundy, a flamethrower for Baltimore, the former number 4 overall pick just a few short years ago. It's game 2. Nick Markakis back in the lineup. As you'd expect, his former teammates in Baltimore reminisce about his days with the Birds as we walk down memory lane with the Braves right fielder next here in Atlanta.
Ford dealer. And the Georgia Lottery. Welcome back into afternoon baseball here at SunTrust Park. A quick turnaround as the Braves try to even the series versus the Orioles in Game 2 of a 3-game set. You know, this is a unique game for Braves All-Star contender Nick Markakis, who's going up against his former team. He started in the Orioles outfield from 2006 to 2014, and man, he left his footprint there. And you know, the guys over in that dugout across the field have been pulling for him and enjoyed seeing the success he has had this year. So we caught up with his former manager, Buck Showalter, earlier today.
Trying to have a good year, every at bat, he's one of those guys I talked about yesterday. I worry about who's going to fill their shoes, guys like that in the game. They're hard to find. They're so impactful on the field and off the field. And, when you're trying to put a young club together, to have someone like Nick around is just paramount. And he understands the weight of his words, and he doesn't use them callously. He just doesn't throw a bunch of stuff. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's always approachable. But nothing he does surprises me. It's just such a self-pride there. Contracts don't drive him. The only thing that drives him is winning. I don't think there's anybody that enjoyed winning in Baltimore more than Nick. And it's hard to replace.
Hard to replace, and the Braves are happy to have him. And Brian Snitker has always worded it best. He just says that Nick Markakis is a pro's pro. He comes here every single day. He does his work. He's consistent, and that hard work has been paying off. And I asked Buck Showalter, what is it about managing a guy like Nick Markakis? And he just said, it is a great honor. And he said, that old country song called Who's Gonna Fill Their Shoes? That's how I felt about Nick Markakis when we didn't bring him back, because he is impossible to replace. And like I mentioned, man, the Braves are happy to have him because he has been a huge part of their success so far this season, and they're hoping that continues tonight. We have Game 2 between the Orioles and the Braves as Julio Teheran takes the mound. Chip and Joe take it back with first pitch next.
And by SunTrust. Confidence starts here.
Well, we're ready to go here in Atlanta. Fireworks popping overhead under cloudy skies. Julio Teheran's got the ball for the Braves, coming off a spectacular outing, Joe, as we mentioned a moment ago, in his last home start here at SunTrust.
27 years old, 6'2", 205 out of Columbia. Last 5 home starts, outstanding. And this has not been a place that's been kind to Julio so far in its early stages, SunTrust Park, but a 2.61 ERA over his last 5. Very good. Overall, he's 5-4, 3.97 ERA. His 4 keys to pitching success. Well, we're going to go with the first inning again, because he has a 7.07 ERA in the first inning. But oddly enough, just a 2.08 average against him in the first inning. But 4 of his 14 homers and 11 of his 34 runs have come in the first. He also needs to go deep. It'd be okay if he went deep with the bat, but I'm referring to deep into the ball game and try to save the bullpen some this afternoon.
And Lucas Sims was brought up from Gwinnett today to bolster that bullpen. We'll have more on that a little later on today. So Julio Teheran has faced the Orioles once. That was 3 years ago. This is how Buck Showalter lines him up for Game 2 of the series. Colby Rasmus leads off their Toyota starting 9. Adam Jones second. Manny Machado, the game-winning homer last night, is their third-place hitter. Trumbo, Davis, Valencia, Scope, Joseph, and a hard-throwing right-hander Dylan Bundy will pitch and bat ninth. The Orioles come in at 22-52 for the season, a rare road win for them last night. They've played 40 games away from Oriole Park. Last night was just their 11th victory away from their home field. But really a remarkable game in that Atlanta had the lead 3-1 after 8, gave up the lead in the 9th. Baltimore scored 6 times. Braves scored 4 runs in the bottom half to tie it up again, and then it took 15 innings to decide the Game 1 victor.
Yeah, and they had that winning run just 90 feet away with 1 out, but couldn't get Markakis in. That hurt.
So it's a new day, a new look for Atlanta with Flaherty at third, Santana in left, same Julio Teheran on the mound as Rasmus digs in for Baltimore. Rasmus came in the 10th inning last night, and he takes outside, and we are underway. 1 ball, no strikes. 84 degrees, cloudy skies, gentle breeze blowing from right to left. And Julio misses outside, ball 2. That is also something to keep an eye on with Teheran. What we have noticed, arm side command has been an issue the last, well, 3 or 4 starts for sure.
Yeah, a lot of pitches sailing into that right-handed batter's box against lefties in particular.
And that one fouled away. 2 balls and a strike. The other thing you talked about, Joe, for Julio that was so critical last start, velocity. How hard is his fastball? What movement does that fastball have?
And it was good. It was a good sign. I mean, that's why he was so effective against the Padres. 6 innings, no hits or runs allowed. Fanned 11. He had a great slider that day too, but it started with his fastball.
And that's taken high. 3 balls and a strike. Lance Barksdale, by the way, will woof out the balls and strikes today.
Let's hope he does. That was a pretty good pitch.
So Julio rocks on the rubber, is 3-1. He is high, ball 4, leadoff walk. So the first inning questions have begun for Teheran again. First man on for Baltimore in front of Adam Jones, the center fielder. Jones had a hit in 5 tries last night. And he enters play today hitting .291 for the year. One of a good number of potential free agents for the Orioles at the end of this season.
Rasmus with that bad hip that's really waylaid him for the last 2 years that required surgery. I'd be very surprised if he's running, but maybe he's back to 100% or close to it.
There's a good pitch. Jones took it. Strike 1, a slider for the Baltimore center fielder. 10 homers, 31 knocked in for Adam. Another Baltimore man that likes to swing the bat. He's walked just 9 times. Let's see if he can put it in play and get doubled up. And fouled back toward us, 0-2.
He's been a little frustrated the last 2 games. Well, 1 game plus this at bat over missing his pitches. He's been fouling off a lot of good pitches to hit. He's been a terrific player for them, though, after they got him from Seattle.
In a deal for Eric Bedard. The pitch is lined toward left. Santana on the run, can't get it. It's underneath his glove. He can't find it. Ball trickles toward the line, and by the time Danny comes up with it, the Orioles have runners at second and third. So on an 0-2 pitch, Adam Jones rifles a double to left, and Baltimore has Julio in the soup very quickly here in the first.
That 0-2 count hasn't been too kind to Atlanta lately. Machado hit a 2-run homer on an 0-2 pitch that was very similar to that hanger.
So here's Manny Machado. Machado at 305, 19 homers, 55 driven in. There was a great subject of discussion today on MLB Network Radio involving Manny Machado, which I'd love to get your thoughts on, Joe, as Julio stretches. Arguably the two brightest stars in free agency this offseason will be, assuming they don't sign with their clubs, Machado and Bryce Harper. Who's going to get paid more? This guy at 25 years of age and having a typical Manny Machado year, or Bryce Harper, who's struggling to keep his average above 200 for the Nationals? And an outfielder. Machado wants to be a shortstop.
How old is Bryce? 24 or 5?
They're close in age, yeah.
Probably Machado, be my guess.
Yeah.
But it's hard to predict now what their numbers are going to be come the end of the year. And look at him. I was amused by a comment from Harper, who said he'd participate in the home run hitting contest if he's on the All-Star team. He's hitting 204.
Popped up right side. Will this stay in play for Freddie? It will not.
I'm not sure what parameters he thought batting 204 would get him into the All-Star game, but bless his heart.
Well, the game is in Washington. I would assume Bryce is counting on a big hometown vote.
I guess that would help.
And I guess there's two ways of looking at the All-Star game. Is it the game for the guys having the best year this year, or is it a game for the game's brightest stars? Maybe two totally different voting parameters there.
No, we've said I've said all along it's a popularity contest.
Right.
So he's still got a chance to be voted in. That's for certain in Washington with the hometown folks.
3 balls and a strike. So Julio with a walk, a double, and now another free pass has loaded the bases with nobody out.
There's that first inning thing again.
Yeah, this is not at all what the Braves were hoping to see. So Machado with his 34th walk brings up Trumbo, the Orioles right fielder. 13 pitches, nobody out. Strike one. Trumbo's hitting to 3 double plays. The Orioles as a team have hit into 56 this year. .22 wins for the Orioles, the fewest number of wins in the big leagues. And Julio now ahead 0-2. A strikeout would be very big potentially.
I was talking to Dansby about the double play setup for a hitter like Trumbo. You can see Dansby's not in typical double play positioning. He is way over to the left, more toward the hole. So he's a long way from there if a ball is hit to Albies. But he said that's what the staff wants. They'd rather take their chances of getting a ground ball hit there than having a traditional double play ball positioning.
Good stop by Suzuki. That saved a run. 1 ball, no strikes.
I guess the percentages would say there's a better chance of Trumbo hitting the ball in the hole. That might start a double play.
And then sure enough, as we've seen so often with the Braves and other clubs, you play a guy to pull, and the ball's a step out of reach when he hits it up the middle.
Hits it up the middle.
So we'll see how it works out here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Another pop fly foul and into the seats.
As Dansby said to me, you know, a traditional double play position, if you're going to play for a double play, would be 2 steps in and 2 steps over. Shortening up, getting closer to the bag.
Pitch number 18 for Tehran. And it's hammered to center. Ender on the run. He's going to watch that one sail over the fence for a grand slam.
He fooled me.
So the first inning comes back to haunt Tehran. The home run ball in his home park comes back to haunt him. But more importantly, Joe, the 2 walks set up the big inning. It's 4-0 and nobody out.
I must have been the only guy in the ballpark that didn't think that ball was going out. When Ender turned around, the base runners knew. Machado was already to second base.
So the Orioles lead 4-0, and Julio hasn't gotten it out yet. Another hit on a 2-strike count. Trumbo with a 1-2 pitch. It's a line drive grand slam home run. And a swinging bunt off the bat of Davis. And there's the first out. That'll bring up Danny Valencia, the Baltimore third baseman. Valencia hitting .290 on the year. He had a pair of hits last night and was part of the big 6-run top of the 9th before he was taken down. And he jumps on the first one and skies it towards center. And that's playable for Inciarte. 2 quick outs after the grand slam. And Jonathan Scope's coming up. Told you last night, Scope a couple of years ago was, well, last year was an all-star. A 32 homer, 105 RBI year. Boy, you get that out of your second sacker. That's really good work. Times have been a little tougher for him so far this year. He's knocked in just 19 runs. And is batting .212 entering today's action.
He's kind of built in that Bobby Grich mold, former Oriole second baseman. He's actually bigger than Grich. 6'4", about 230. Grich was a big guy too.
Very long inning for Julio here in the first. A Trumbo grand slam. The story. And again, arm side miss evens the count. A hanging breaking ball is walloped down the left field line. Did he keep it fair? And it's called foul. That one was hit into the Hank Aaron terrace. And Scope very nearly made it 5-0.
Bobby Dickerson is their third base coach. He was kind of surprised that it was called foul by Ted Barrett. And here comes Buck Showalter.
And they're going to have a review of this play down the left field line. Barrett and Barksdale will put on the headsets, and the Orioles are going to challenge the call, which was a foul ball. This was the original intent of replay. They called these plays boundary calls. Anything over the fence, down the line, above the poles. These were the kinds of close plays that baseball wanted to make sure that they got right in the very early days of instant replay.
This is a hard call to make if you're the third base umpire, because it was hit so high.
Yeah.
Did it go around the foul pole? Did it go over the pole or outside it?
Well, that's why, and maybe they do have this a different camera angle. I would assume that Major League Baseball would have a camera pointing right down each foul line at the poles so that they could see that play in New York. Our camera angles here at SunTrust Park don't allow that. So the shot that we gave you was the best that we can offer. But the word from New York is in, and it is a foul ball.
Well, if they'd reversed that call, that was going to be the longest home run trot in history.
Yes.
Scope is
Yep.
Scope is still standing in foul territory at home plate.
So no clear and convincing evidence to confirm or overturn the call. The foul call stands. And now it's a 2-2 pitch. And this one clearly foul. We'll do it again.
Julio agitated, as you might expect, and he got away with another mistake on his slider there.
Now he wants Kurt to go through the signs again. He's got one he likes, in the pitch. Foul back. Well, with Julio needing at least 29 pitches to get out of the first inning, he doesn't have some quick frames. One would think Lucas Sims will be in this game at some point. As this one's hard hit, but right to second base, and that retires the side. 29 pitches in the first, a 2-strike double, 2 walks, and then a grand slam on a 1-2 pitch by Mark Trumbo to straightaway center field. After a half inning, the Orioles strike first. It's 4-0. The Orioles need a big bat, at least not after a 4-run first inning capped by the Trumbo grand slam. Now Atlanta has to come back against Dylan Bundy, kid from Oklahoma who's got a big arm.
Owassa, Oklahoma. 25 years old, 6'1", 225, 4th pick in the draft in 2011. And he'll face this Atlanta lineup from Brian Snitker. Toyota lineup has Ender Inciarte back at the top of the order with Albies, Freeman, Markakis. Santana's in there today, so is Flaherty. Bundy, 5-7, a 3.81 ERA, but he's on a roll. His last 3 have been very good. But like Julio, he's got first inning troubles. 8 of the 18 home runs he's allowed have come in the first inning, and an 8.36 ERA for him.
So let's see if Atlanta can jump on him and add to their 42-run first inning total this year. Braves haven't had many runs since May 15th come across in the opening inning. In fact, they've scored 3 first inning runs since May 15th. Let's see if they can change that here, trailing 4-0 with Ender leading off, who got on base 4 times yesterday, and he's starting to heat up. It's a strike. Inciarte 13 hits in his last 10 games. That's a nifty 342 mark over that impressive run. Just a little low, and it's 2-2.
Mid to upper 90s fastball, slider, change, curve. He's got a split.
And he's lost his no-hitter. Leadoff single for Ender Inciarte.
Boy, good to see Ender on a good roll. He snapped out of that early season funk. 7 for his last 15. 3 for 7 in this series already. At the top of the order, getting on base.
And we heard Nick talk about it on Braves Live, that leg kick. Maybe Ender's really liking the results of that adjustment at the plate.
Yeah, I liked what Nick said too about how it's kind of helping him stay back and use his backside a little more.
On strike to Ozzie Albies, who's got a 4-game hitting streak. 5 hits in those 4 games for the Braves second baseman. In case you didn't join us last night, first of all, shame on you, but secondly, the Braves are wearing their throwback uniforms tonight in celebration of Hank Aaron Week here at SunTrust Park. It was great having Hank in the booth with us last night.
Thoroughly enjoyed that.
And a line drive to left for Albies. Back-to-back hits for Atlanta. So the Braves trying to answer here in the first inning. And you're right, Joe, Bundy having first inning issues himself. Maybe this will be a repeat of the crazy 9th inning last night.
I was just thinking the same thing. It was a 1-1 game through 7 last night, and then the runs started coming in bunches, and that's kind of what happened in the top of the first today. Good swing by Ozzie. Going the other way.
So here's Freddie, a 331 average. He's got a 3-game streak working. Freddie had a double, a run, a single, and 2 RBIs. And he tried to come home on Nick Markakis' double to right center field, and the Orioles threw him out at the plate with what would have been the winning run. As Brian Snitker said, after the 9th inning comeback, Braves had a lot of chances, just couldn't come up with that big contact play or big hit. As that one's out of play, foul. No balls, 2 strikes.
And it was a good call, even though Freddie was out by a decent margin. That's exactly what was called for there for Ron Washington, to send him, because he had Nick on his heels coming into third anyway.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, nobody out. And that high fastball is too high. It's 1-2. I like the aggressive way the Braves are running the bases. We haven't seen too many examples of a crazy decision either by the players or Ron Washington. As Freddie swings and misses for the first out. That's something that was talked about all spring, was how aggressively the Braves wanted to play on the bases and force the opposition to make a perfect play. In the case of the Freeman out at the plate sequence, Baltimore did make a perfect play.
They did. Good relay. He's on a ball hit by this man.
And another multi-hit game last night, his 30th of the year. 95 hits for Markakis now. Up to 45 runs batted in. And fouled back. It's one thing when your teammates, when your home fans compliment you. It's altogether an entirely different conversation when your opponents and former players and manager compliment you the way that Buck Showalter and the Orioles did for Nick Markakis.
With what you heard from Buck today about Nick, you can rest assured it was not his decision not to re-sign Markakis. He would love to have him back.
What a luxury it is to be able to plug a guy in your lineup who can hit 275 to 290, 30 doubles, 170 hits or more, and wants to play every day. And that has been Nick Markakis in his career with the Braves. He was that way with the Orioles. 9-year career, he missed something like 90 games. That's it. Chance to get the Braves on the board here. 2 on, 1 out, but he's behind 1 and 2. Line drive over short. That'll get a run home. Here comes Ender around third. Albies heads to third. Another hit and RBI for Markakis, and the Braves get a run back. It's 4-1.
.46 RBIs for Nick. High fastball, fought it off. That looked a little bit like Machado, and the high fastball he fought off yesterday for his first hit. So the Braves have 1 of them back. They've got a great opportunity to get a second one with a runner at third and less than 2 outs.
Braves 1 and 2 in the hit column among the National League leaders. And Kurt Suzuki will stand in.
Well, Brian Anderson, what a rookie year he's having.
He's having a great year. And playing right field, not third base. And he can call a heck of a baseball game in Milwaukee.
Yeah, he's a good announcer. Right.
1 ball, no strikes for Kurt, is on a nice roll as a starter. .360 average in his last 12 starting assignments. And a shot to the third baseman. There's 1. There is 2. And there's the inning. 3 hits for Atlanta. Ender comes around to score the Braves' first run. It's 4-1 heading to the second. Slam by Mark Trumbo is the big blow in the game. Let's see if Julio can settle in after a 29 pitch first inning. Settling in at home for the Braves starters hasn't been an issue. That's our SunTrust confidence play today.
No, it's been awesome. I mean, check it out. The ERA is amazing. Newcomb pitched well last night, and I didn't think Sean was out at his best, but he still held them to 1 run over 7 innings and kept his team in the ball game.
And that's the assignment for Julio now. He's given up 4 in the first. The Braves got 1 of them back. He's got the 8, 9, and 1 hitters coming up. And that first hitter is Caleb Joseph, the Baltimore catcher. Joseph ought to feel pretty good today. He came out after the 8th inning. In the game last night, shot to left. Santana with good closing speed makes the play, 1 out. And Julio set down 4 straight. And here's Bundy.
Danny Santana's got a lot of major league experience, but when you've been playing in AAA and then you come here with the high 3rd and 4th deck, it's sometimes tough to read the ball off the bat. He got a late start on that, but a nice catch.
Bundy doesn't have much hitting experience as a major league player, but Joe, you were telling me about this kid's eye-popping high school numbers.
It was ridiculous. He was the Gatorade National High School Player of the Year his senior year. As a hitter, he hit .467 with 11 homers and 54 RBIs. He's a switch hitter, but that's nothing. His pitching numbers: he was 11-0, had an ERA of 0.20, 71 innings. He walked only 5 batters, and in 71 innings struck out 158 guys. Wow.
What was that ratio again?
5 to 158 in 71 innings. I mean, 70 innings, that's at two an inning, that's 142 strikeouts. He had 158.
He was playing in a different league than the rest of those high schoolers, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, that's tells you what you need to know as to why they picked him with the 4th overall choice in 2011. And he's done good work. Last year he won 13 games, got a ton of run support. As we told you last night, Baltimore starters have been the poorest supported staff in the major leagues. But even though that's the case, Bundy still won 5 of his first 12 decisions. As Rasmus bailing and wailing, didn't get it, and he's got a 1-1 count. Julio set down 5 straight after the Trumbo first inning slam. Rasmus walked ahead of that homer. And a broken bat roller. Long throw. And got him. Nice play. Dansby Swanson ranging far and wide to take care of Rasmus on a bang-bang play at first. 3 up, 3 down for the moment for Baltimore. Looks like they might take a peek at this. And it's 4-1, middle of the 2nd inning. Says Harry Kane, and England takes on Panama at 7 a.m. Eastern on FS1. The FIFA World Cup tomorrow on FS1 and Fox, or stream it all live on the Fox Sports app. One of our coordinating producers, Rowan Backfish, is dancing in the streets of Buckhead today after his German squad came through in the 95th minute off a free kick to stun Sweden and win 2-1 today.
What a goal.
And what a return to the big leagues for Danny Santana last night, huh? Wasn't that something?
Yeah, and he could have easily been the hero with just another foot or so on a fly ball. He hit to straightaway center in the 12th inning. Craig Gentry caught it right at the top of the yellow line.
What everybody was commenting on today about Santana's debut last night is that unmistakable sound that the ball made off the bat. As he came that close to ending it for Atlanta. There's another hard hit ball, and that was the term they used. Everything was hard.
Well, timing's everything. You know, I don't care where you're playing, and in this case Danny was at Gwinnett. If you're swinging the bat well and you're on a hot streak, boy, get him up here.
Down the left field line. He couldn't keep that one fair, however. And it's still 1-2. When you look at Santana's numbers last year for the Braves, there really wasn't anything that was super eye-popping. But he does, as you said, give the Braves so much flexibility. He can play all the outfield spots. He switch hits. He's got good speed, pretty good arm in the outfield. And in the series the Braves played last June out in Oakland, he was a one-man wrecking crew in the Braves sweep of the A's. So it's in there. That one's fouled away. Braves got him on May 8th. He hit .202 overall for Minnesota and Atlanta. Played left, right, center, second, third, and DH'd once.
I think he played second base for the Braves a couple of times last year too.
He did. 7 games, 1 start. 2-2 pitch. And fought that off. Head out of play.
That was a nice spoiler.
And another one. Still 2-2. And the 9th pitch ends in a strikeout, the second for Bundy. And that's how the Braves' second begins. 1 up, 1 down for Ryan Flaherty.
Bundy's last start wasn't a thing of beauty, but he got the win because he got a day of rare support with 10 runs as he beat Miami 10-4. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs allowed, and 2 homers.
So Jack Morris proven right again, huh?
Yes.
That's in for a strike. Flaherty, a former Oriole, making his 7th start since the 29th game of the season for the Braves. Remember, Ryan led the league in hitting for a while, and the Braves tried the Jose Bautista experiment. That didn't work. When Jose left to join the Mets, Johan Camargo was inserted as the primary third baseman. So playing time's been somewhat sporadic for Ryan.
Well, these guys certainly know him. Got a shift on for him.
Heavy workload for Bundy so far. He's thrown 30 pitches. He's gotten 4 outs. And a 3-1 count. That's bunted over the screen.
He had it set up perfectly. Just left too early rather than push it and get it down. Great idea.
Bouncing ball up the middle. And the throw to first is dug out by Davis. Nice play. That's Valencia who made the peg to first base. And quickly 2 out. Dansby at 245 on the year, 6 homers, 26 knocked in. He was 1 for 6 last night. He tripled and scored the game tying run for Atlanta in the 7th. Fouled back, even count. Dansby's kind of moved up and down the lineup of late for the Braves. Hit second for about a week or so. Last night hit 7th. Today he's the 8th place hitter. Dansby's got 6 hits in his last 45 at bats.
I think he's swinging better than that. He may not have the hits to show for it, but he's hit some tough luck.
That's it again to third. Valencia's got it. And his toss across in time retires the side. 3 up, 3 down. Bundy and Tehran in game 2. Orioles lead at 4-1. For Atlanta 1 after 2 at SunTrust.
At Rooms to Go, you can go any way you want. Go style, go savings, go today.
Julio Tehran gets ready for his 3rd inning. What a way to end the 2nd inning for the Orioles. A fine defensive effort from Dansby.
Playing over the first base side of second. Had a ways to go to backhand and throw across his body. Got something on the throw. Heck of a play to end the inning.
So after the Trumbo grand slam in the first, Tehran set down the last 6 in order. He'll have Jones, Machado, and Trumbo coming up here in the 3rd inning. Julio had a much needed 9-pitch 2nd inning, giving him 38 for the game so far. Hold him right there and let the Braves bats go back to work. At least that's what you hope. Jones doubled on an 0-2 count, his first time up. You talk about the Orioles, you talk about all the potential changes that could happen at the trading deadline or certainly the offseason. Their general manager and manager are both in the final years of their contracts. Jones and Machado are free agents. As this one's chopped to third for the first out. Even though Zach Britton didn't have a good night last night, he's an elite closer in the major leagues. Another free agent.
Yeah, they've got to be patient with him, I think, to get him healthy.
Yeah. But what an opportunity for the Orioles to restock their system and look ahead to 2019 and beyond. They're 30 games under 500 this year.
I heard some talk today that the Arizona Diamondbacks might be in on Machado.
Yeah, just what they need, more offense, huh?
Yeah, what a juggernaut lineup that might be.
Arizona won 2-1 last night. They've got Zach Greinke pitching today and leading in Pittsburgh 2-0. Ground ball to short. Dansby's got that. Machado jogs to first. He's the 8th straight hitter retired. Bringing up Arizona because we'll be seeing them for the first time before the All-Star break after the Braves come home from their 3-city road trip. The Diamondbacks will be the opposition right before the All-Star break. And they've got Paul Goldschmidt rolling all of a sudden. His last 16 games, 6 doubles, a triple, 8 homers, and 20 RBIs. And he was off to a dreadful month of May, if memory serves, for the D-backs.
You know, when you look forward to seeing a star quality player come to town and interleague play, and you're anxious to see how they go about their business, it's disappointing to me when you see Machado just jog to first on a ground ball like that.
Two balls, no strikes as Trumbo steps out.
I don't get to watch him play. I know his numbers tell you, and you hear people talk about and rave about what a good player he is, but I want to see for myself. And when I see that, I wonder, does he only play hard when he wants to, or when he gets a base hit and doesn't hustle all the time?
That's what my grandfather used to say all the time. They pay you to run hard 4 times a game, even if you hit it on the button right at somebody.
Your grandfather had a raspy voice, didn't he?
He did, yes. 3-0 pitch, which is called a strike. He would tell you, Joe, that was a whiskey baritone.
Oh, well, yeah.
There was plenty of whiskey that made it a baritone.
Whiskey barrel tone.
That's right. 3 balls and a strike to Trumbo. And not close, ball 4. So Julio to the stretch for the first time since the first inning. Already his 3rd walk. And it's interesting too. Like, I'm not ragging on Manny Machado. He's a terrific player. He's going to get paid. But let's be honest too. The Braves might be in the market for a 3rd baseman. We don't know if or when Riley will be ready. Johan Camargo and Flaherty are holding down the spot right now. But in front of this fan base, in front of the other team's front office, with all that's at stake for Machado, I'm with you. Bust down the line.
I will say in his defense, he was out there for all 15 innings last night.
Yep.
Come back for an early start today. There's got to be some fatigue involved. I'll just leave it at that.
Chris Davis came back with a bang last night. First action in 11 days. And he hit a 5th inning homer. He also drove in a run with a sac fly. And he hits this one down the right field line. Long run, Markakis, and that is a foul ball. And Trumbo back to first. 2 quick strikes for Chris Davis. Something else the players are grateful for today. Number 1, it's not a 1 o'clock start after the long game last night. Number 2, a lot of cloud cover here in Atlanta. It's not a blistering hot day. Don't have to worry about shadows, difficult visibility conditions, and there's a gentle breeze blowing. So all in all, a pretty comfortable day as we hit 5 o'clock Eastern time. 0-2 pitch. So from way ahead of Davis, he's now gone full. And Trumbo will get a head start at first base.
You kind of get the feeling that when you do that to a guy hitting a 152, all of a sudden his average goes up. His percentages go up in this situation. Full count with a runner on.
There goes Trumbo, and Davis swings and misses. So Julio has his second strikeout. Braves coming up in the third. Julio gets it started, down 4-1. Trust Park, where the Braves are coming up, down 4-1. Dylan Bundy back to work with the Braves pitcher set to lead things off. This guy's a nice, smooth, easy delivery, doesn't he?
Kind of a long arm action too. He's got it back behind him, almost Madison Bumgarner like. You know how you can see the ball behind him before he gets on top.
Pulled toward third, but Valencia's got it, and he makes the peg to first for the first out. So back to the top, Ender and Ciarte. The Braves got back-to-back hits. Ender and Albies brought home the 43rd first inning run of the year for the Braves. That's where we stand, 4-1 now. Bundy's retired 5 consecutive hitters. And 4 Braves have hit the ball to third base. And that's in for a strike.
Bundy had Tommy John surgery in 2013. It's very little in 2014 and 15. So last year, well, 2016, he was able to come back and work out of the bullpen and start. Went 10-6, and last year, as you mentioned, full complement of starts and 100% healthy, 13 wins.
1 ball, 1 strike.
He can throw hard, and one of the things that they said, I was told, that helped him last year was that he finally learned that he didn't have to throw every pitch 97. He was able to back off a little bit, take a little off, put a little on.
Kind of a lost art in today's game, isn't it?
Yep.
2 balls and a strike. And a high fly ball toward right center field. Trumbo on the run is going to get there. Nice running catch by Trumbo, covered a lot of ground. And he rumbles out there and hauls in that drive by Ender for the second out.
Doggone, I thought that was in the gap. Talked about Trumbo last night being more of a first baseman DH type, not so much an outfielder, and nice job of flagging that one down.
And that brings up Ozzie Albies. He's an aggressive hitter early in the count, as you see on our Georgia lottery, hitting the jackpot.
Braves as a team, big time on those first pitch hits.
They have swung at the first pitch 388 times coming into play today, have a .368 team batting average, and have 18 homers on first pitches this year. And then when you factor in that this team, generally speaking, doesn't strike out a lot, they're a real tough team to pitch to, because you can't just lay one in there for strike one. Line drive to first, and Davis to a knee. Makes the catch. 7 up, 7 down for Bundy. He's through 3 with a 3-run lead.
Continues here at SunTrust Park, and you guys know the clean throwback jerseys they've been wearing from 1974. This is always a special time when they're able to bring them back. Well, this man right here, he was the brains behind that. This is Waylon Moore, and you designed these jerseys, and you were just saying, how cool is it to look out on the field and to see them wearing them?
Right now, with them, we're wearing the uniforms of '74 tonight. I feel like it's 1974, but I was back then. I'm an artist. Sports artist, and they gave me a white uniform and said, Waylon, come up with something that Hank Aaron will like and we will like, because he will be setting history and breaking Babe Ruth's record. So, excuse me, but anyway, I had 2 models, Hank Aaron and Eddie Matthews. So I would design one, and then we would have it made. And they would wear it out on the field, just the 3 of us. And up until the last moment, all the blue that you see on the arms was red. And because I felt red was a nice color. Well, Hank turned to me one day and said, Waylon, I like blue. So you see we have blue, which is great. But one thing about the uniform, when we're on the road, the upper part of the uniform switches color. All the white you see turns blue. And the reason for that is, up until that time, all road uniforms were just almost terrible to look at. They were grays, no color. So I said, why don't, because we're watching it on television, why don't we have a uniform that we enjoy? So that's the reason I kept the white pants, but I did go to the dark blue shirt. And everyone seemed to like it. And So jokingly, it's two little boys from the South. I loved art. Hank loved the baseball and bat. And one day, and this was our dream, I would say, because I never played ball because even though I'm big enough, but I just love to paint and color and sketch. And then one day we came together. He was playing with the Braves, and the Braves asked me when I would become their graphics director, which I did for about 2.5 years there. And that's the way it all started. So all of you kids and adults out there, dreams do come true. And because it did for Hank and I.
They are incredible jerseys, and you know what I think a lot of people love about them is the feather on the side of the arm. What originated? Where'd that come from?
Well, at that time, when the Braves moved to Atlanta, we were still carrying the Indian head on the uniform, and so I wanted to get away from that, and so the next best thing was use a feather. So that's the reason the feather came up on the uniform.
Well, like I mentioned, incredible uniforms and a very special week, and it's really cool to look out. I know the players are so enjoying wearing these. You did an incredible job with them. You got your work in Cooperstown. This man has done a great job, Chip and Joe.
If I may interrupt one more time, of course, I live in Atlanta, and I teach an art class at Emory University, and I still paint, and but I was in New York because that's where most of my work came out of. And I went to Cooperstown because I knew that they had shipped Hank's locker, full locker, to Cooperstown. And I walk in there, everything was right except one thing. They had the present uniform they were wearing then hanging on a hanger in Hank's locker. And I called the individual in charge over, and I said, "It looks great, but you've got a mistake." And he said, "What do you mean I've got a mistake?" And I said, "That's not the uniform that he hit 715 in." Well, you can imagine the phone calling and the shipping, and so, but that was a mistake.
Well, we're happy you were able to catch on it, and Waylon, thank you so much for your time. Hey, you guys, we still got this game going on. Hank Aaron week, Braves and Orioles. We'll be right back after the break.
Atlanta trailing 4-1. What a great historical, reminiscence-filled interview with Waylon Moore, the man that designed these uniforms for the Braves back in the 70s.
Yeah, and I'd like for him to know that my last year at Oklahoma, it inspired us.
Oh, really?
We got new uniforms, and that's exactly what we did at Oklahoma. And he was talking about the red, so we had the crimson panels on the sleeves with a Sooner schooner instead of a feather. and flipped it around. We had white and red.
They really were modern looking, so very different looking from anything else that the Braves had worn back in the 70s, which really was an innovative time in Major League uniforms. The V-neck was really a popular thing that came about.
Well, and the pajama bottoms had just about.
First pitch swing by Freddie. It's skied toward Jones in center, and Adams is there for the first out.
It was nice to see belts back.
Yeah.
Instead of the drawstring pajama bottom looking pants.
Well, for guys like me, we kind of like the Sansa belt look. There was a couple of snaps. You remember those?
Yes.
And then, growing up in St. Louis, there were some fans who loved them. I was one who didn't. But the interchangeable colors of the Pittsburgh Pirates uniforms, the gray, the black, the pinstripes, and they'd sometimes wear the gold pants with the black top, all that crazy stuff. Kind of like what the Diamondbacks do with their uniforms now. But in that era, my favorite non-Braves and non-Cardinals uniform was Oakland's. That green and gold that Charlie Finley had out there.
The white shoes.
Oh, man. Because you don't see green on uniforms too often.
It was Fort Knox gold.
Right.
Wedding gown white. And I can't remember the green.
May have been U.S. Treasury green. But those were such innovative and so unique because, again, you have teal now. You have, like in Seattle, the uniforms have, I don't know, a cedar tree color green, whatever you want to call it.
That's what I call it.
But nobody has that Kelly green on the uniform, and it really stands out.
Oh, good change there.
Yeah, he's starting to change speeds now, isn't he? That's 9 up, 9 down. And that is the third strikeout for Bundy.
So there's that split. That's how he uses his changeup.
Alex Cobb had an excellent split last night,
Sure
didn't he?
did.
So while the uniforms are kind of coming full circle, the split finger pitch might be coming full circle again.
Yeah. The Phillies, I don't know if it's weekday day games at home.
There's a shot the other way by Kurt. That's headed for the right field corner. And Suzuki is on his way to second. The ball sticks under the padding, but Kurt's going to throw out an anchor there, and he'll stand at second with 2 outs.
That was a great swing. Fastball outer third. Barreled it with them really shifted over for him to pull. I was thinking about those Phillies unis that throw back the powder blue and red.
Kurt's our Yellowwood brand, bringing the lumber feature.
Good numbers his last 11, despite getting conked in the head a couple of times with bats when he's catching.
Swing and a miss by Santana.
Sorry, Chip. This would be a nice run to pick up right here.
Braves have left 1 runner on base. That was the first inning. Baltimore has left 1 on base. Problem is the Orioles have brought 4 home on a grand slam in the first inning. And fouled away quickly. 0-2.
Danny had a good at bat in the first inning. Saw a lot of pitches, but they finally did him in with off-speed pitches, and they've started him with 2 straight to start this at bat.
Yeah, it was a 9-pitch sequence leading off inning number 2. No swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We'll keep you updated on all the Eastern Division action today. The Phillies and Washington are squaring off, tied 2-2 in the 4th inning. That's Aaron Nola and Eric Fetty for the Nationals.
Odubel Herrera's homered in 5 straight.
5 straight. And a high fastball takes care of Santana. Bundy has 4 innings under his belt. He's set down 10 of 11 and leads 4-1. Big crowds expected all weekend here at SunTrust Park. You look inside the ballpark thanks to our Xfinity cam. The 5th inning is upon us. All of a sudden, Joe Julio's discovered that slider.
He's gotten on top of it a little better, Chip. I went next door between innings and was talking to Don Sutton about that, because some of those misses into the right-handed batter's box, you know, that we've talked about, it looks like sometimes Julio drops his arm angle a little bit. He loses his arm slot, and I was just wanted to be reminded by Don that, you know, even if you want the ball to sink, say to a left-handed hitter, you still got to be on top of that pitch to create that I'll say screwball type spin and get it to move that way. And he said the only guys that can do that from dropping down are the side armors, the true side armors, because they come over the top of the pitch as they're releasing it. But last inning, those 3 strikeouts, he was back in business.
Freddie can't get it, nor can Ozzie. And Dylan Bundy, the pitcher, is aboard to start the inning.
What the heck was that? It looked like they were trying to catch a squirrel running through the infield. Just out of his reach. And then Ozzie had it bounce off of him. Base hit.
First of his career.
Is it really?
Yeah. So Bundy will ask for that baseball. And he stands at first with Rasmus and Jones lurking for Baltimore. Rasmus has walked, scored, and he's grounded out. Fine play by Dansby Swanson, arranged from the first base side of second base to the other side of the bag to get him by a step. Foul away, strike 1.
Colby was born in Columbus, Georgia, lives in Phoenix City, Alabama now. He's had some good years, really good years, a lot of homers. St. Louis, Toronto, Houston. He first came up with St. Louis. He was a really good outfielder too.
Memory serves, he and Tony La Russa didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
And that's when they sent him off to Toronto. And now he's back after the hip problems Joe mentioned, trying to come back with the Orioles.
Look how far he's standing off the plate.
And just in case he thought about a bunt, Julio made that pitch and scrambled toward the third base line with the shift on. There are, however, 2 strikes on Rasmus. Julio now 70 pitches, 29 of them in the first inning.
Now he appears to have moved up on the plate a little bit. Just a little bit.
And he hooks one over second and into shallow right field. Bundy hesitates around second, and he'll stop there. So back-to-back hits, another 2-strike hit, this one by Rasmus. And Baltimore trying to add to their lead with Jones, Machado, and Trumbo coming up.
A little bit. There's that slider though that's out on the side. See how that's kind of coming out the side of his hand, not on top of it.
So when I use the term a frisbee, it just sort of spins on the same plane, right?
Exactly.
Doesn't have that darting, tilting action you want. So here's Jones, chance to do real damage. He doubled and scored in the first. He's also grounded out to third. So Jones 1 for 2 in the game. And he pops the first one up, but that's curling toward the stands. Strike 1.
It's kind of weird. I went next door to talk to Don Sutton. I could have gone next door to either side of us.
Yeah, take your
this
pick.
weekend. Don Sutton or Jim Palmer. I could have 2 Hall of Famers. I could have gone to either one. That guy had right there. He had a very good fastball. He's real tall, threw downhill, but he pitched high in the zone. High fastballs. Because he threw a curveball, 12-6 curve, that started on that same plane. So it always looked like another fastball and then gone, disappeared.
That'd be fun to face, huh?
No.
No. Had to be fun to face that entire Baltimore staff, huh?
Nope.
Nope.
No, that's you go on a road trip to Baltimore and Detroit and have to face all those guys. You go one for the road trip. You feel pretty good about yourself.
Yeah, they have a great history of baseball in Baltimore. Jim Palmer, his number retired. 268 wins, 19 years, 3 Cy Youngs in a 4-year span. A 2.86 lifetime ERA, 4th among pitchers with 3,000 or more innings pitched.
2.86.
Yeah.
In an era that included the DH.
1-1 pitch is lined into right field, a base hit. 3 straight hits for Baltimore, and the pitcher will be stopped at third base. Bases loaded again with nobody out. The 5th inning, a repeat of the 1st. So now you got to face Machado and no place to put him.
Down and away. Lower arm angle. Not much movement.
Got a bunch of other numbers on Jim Palmer that I'll give you in a second as Machado stands in. A walk, a run, and a ground out. Chance for serious damage here for Machado, who had a big cut. Jim Palmer won 20 games in a season 8 times. He was the youngest pitcher in 1966 to throw a World Series shutout. In 1983, the only pitcher to win a World Series game in 3 different decades. No balls at a strike. And I'm sure over the course of that 19-year career, Joe, he faced situations like this. Bases loaded. But an amazing stat for Jim Palmer is
never gave up a grand slam.
Amazing. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Machado is not chasing. He is one of their more patient hitters with 34 walks. So he can shrink his strike zone to the size of a coffee can if he wants. And now the Braves bullpen gets busy. An infield hit by the pitcher. Rasmussen Jones singled to load him up, and now Machado way ahead in the count. Line drive to left. Santana makes a chest high catch and no advance. Oh, Machado upset it himself. He got a 3-1 pitch, hit it right on the button, but right to the left fielder. And with the pitcher being the lead runner, no desire by Baltimore to risk a bang-bang play at the plate.
Fastball up and in right where he wanted it. Hit it hard. Couldn't guide it, of course. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Adam Jones, after he got his base hit to right, he kind of looked over like, what's taking Bundy so long to get to home plate?
Well, Trumbo hit a grand slam in the 1st. He's got a chance for a second one here in the 5th.
It's a better slider. Julio could really use a ground ball, but we talked about this guy last night. He doesn't hit into many double plays. He's hitting the ball in the air. Of course, we only had 5 hours to talk about him, too.
1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch. Oh. Didn't offer. Looked off the plate. It was close. 2-1.
Good pitch. Kind of pitch you want him to swing at. And he laid off.
The 2-1 pitch. I'm going to give you 3 guesses, and I hope it doesn't happen here, but I'm going to give you 3 guesses as to who the last Oriole to hit 2 grand slams in a game was.
How long ago?
20 years, and it was a catcher.
Okay. Rick Dempsey?
Nope. That's 1. I wouldn't have gotten it either.
Okay.
That makes you feel any better. Full count. Should I go ahead and tell you?
I give.
Chris Hoyles.
Huh.
Hit 2 grand slams August 14th, 1998 at Cleveland. It's happened 3 times in Baltimore history.
Well, let's hope it stays at 3.
Yeah. Got to throw a strike here. The 3-2 pitch to Mark Trumbo. Out of the way. The first of Trumbo's big hits in this series. Today, a line drive over the fence in center.
High fastball and Ender deked me. He didn't deke anybody else. See at the bottom of your screen, Machado was already running. You could tell it was going to carry out. That was 4 runs before Julio could get an out. Yeah.
Struck him out looking. Trumbo couldn't pull the trigger. How big is that?
How about that? Took back-to-back best fastballs of the day at 93. One was fouled at the plate, and this one taken right down Broadway. What are you looking for?
Boy, hitters got to hate that, don't they? Get a center cut fastball and take a left turn.
His own fault.
So now Tehran's got to face Davis, who's 0 for 2. Davis 88 strikeouts, including 1 today. And a ball low, 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, this is a huge hitter that could have an effect on the outcome of this ball game. And if Julio can retire him and leave the bases loaded, that'd be a huge momentum shift. And if he can't get him and the lead gets to be more than 3, might be tough to come back.
Another thing to think about too, Bundy doesn't run the bases too often. He has been out there this entire inning. He led off with the infield hit between Freeman and Ozzie Albies. He's at third. Rasmus at second. Adam Jones at first. I think it'll be fascinating to see how guys like Davis adjust, and if they can adjust in this era of the high strike now. And all about launch angle, etc. First, the 2-0 pitch, which missed, ball 3. We've seen Julio pitch very effectively up in the strike zone once he gets ahead of hitters, 89 to 90 miles an hour, and they just can't catch up. I would assume the same is true for Davis with his high strikeout total.
This guy's got a lot of moving parts. Real high hands. Drops him down, then turns his shoulder.
High fly ball, deep right field. Markakis as far as he can go. It's high off the fence. 3 runs are going to score. The throw comes to second. A collision with the umpire. Flaherty and the umpire at second base. Will Little collide. That threw him off his route and interfered with the Braves' ability to apply a tag there. So Davis doubles home 3, and Baltimore takes a 7-1 lead, and the inning's going to continue. But the Braves are going to go to the bullpen first.
Fast runner aboard at first base, able to score with 2 outs. He was off at the crack of the bat. And Will Little's got to be aware of who's going to be making the play. He can't be a spectator watching the throw coming in like that. He's got to be looking for somebody to cover second. Nice screen.
So 2 big hits for Baltimore, a grand slam by Trumbo in the first, a bases clearing double for Chris Davis, and the pick play had Flaherty off stride and out of position. And that is all for Julio Teheran. 4 2/3 innings, 7 runs so far. And Luke Jackson is the first man out of the pen here in the 5th. Luke Jackson will try to get Danny Valencia and get the Braves back in play here in the 5th inning. 3 runs are in with 2 outs, and a line drive stroke to center. And 1 pitch retires Danny Valencia and Baltimore in the 5th inning. 7 runs for Julio Teheran allowed in 4 2/3. Charlie Culberson will hit 3rd next.
By T-Mobile. Get you out to Cubs at the Reds. Top of the 3rd, Anthony DeSclafani helping his own cause with a grand slam to left field off of Brian Dunsing for his first home run of the year. He's thrown 4 1/3 innings of 1-run ball and hit a grand slam, guys. We see the Reds next once the Orioles leave town.
That's a good point, Kelsey. You know, we've talked about this a lot. The Braves have not had that many games against sub 500 teams, but when we play them, it seems like they're playing their best baseball.
Every one of them.
And that is the case with the Cincinnati Reds, who entering today's action have won 8 of their last 10 games. Now remember, we saw them right after Jim Riggleman took over for Brian Price. The Reds were a moribund 8-27 on the year. In their last 50 games, they're 22-28. So playing much more respectable baseball and trying to win their 6th consecutive ball game today against the high-flying Cubs. And Kelsey's right. Cincinnati will be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The final 3 games of this 6-game homestand. Then Atlanta hits the road to end June and start July with a very, very tough road trip. Fouled away by Flaherty. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It'll be Flaherty, Swanson, and Charlie Culberson. The Braves double switch to Charlie into the game. He takes the place of Danny Santana after 4.5 innings. Not a good day for Julio. 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 7 runs, 3 walks. And a line drive headed for the gap in right center. That's down in front of Jones. So Flaherty with a base hit. His first of the day, and there's a 5th inning start for Atlanta.
Well, Ryan's covered all his bases now. He hit a home run off the Phillies. He's got a base hit off the Orioles. He's gotten a little payback.
He got a 15-yard clipping penalty on the second base umpire.
No kidding.
And that'll bring up Dansby, who bounced out his first time up. (7-1) Baltimore. And that's taken high. 1 ball, no strikes. If I'm not mistaken, the Orioles have a pretty impressive winning streak head-to-head against the Braves. It's 6 in a row coming into today's game. Braves last faced the Baltimoreans in 2015 and were swept in a 3-game series.
Yeah, I can remember. It's been longer than that, but I remember going to Camden Yards and Braves were playing pretty decent baseball. Seemed like Russ Ortiz started a game that the Orioles were coming back and winning, and Leo Mazzoni was dumping bubble gum all over the dugout and throwing paper cups, and wasn't going well.
No. That was good practice for him when he became the Orioles pitching coach, because he had similar experiences. As base on balls for Dansby Swanson, and let's see if the long stint on the base paths bothers Mr. Bundy here. Certainly bothered Masahiro Tanaka of the Yankees. Remember, he pulled not 1 but 2 hamstrings running 90 feet.
I've heard of that. That's what prompted all the geeks to get all fired up about trying to get rid of the DH. My gosh, we're killing our pitchers.
Well, first of all, the geeks we'll set aside for a second. But what does it say about the state of the game that a professional athlete can't run 90 feet without blowing out?
That's my point. Get in shape.
Hey. Charlie Culberson was a momentary hero last night. Culberson with a 2-run, 2-out double in the 8th inning to snap a 1-1 tie. It looked like the Braves were on their way to an opening game of the series victory, but it wasn't meant to be. This guy's come up with a bunch of clutch hits. The more you see him, the more you like him. Yanked foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Could you imagine if the late great George Steinbrenner still was with us and was talking about the Yankees and Tanaka blows out running between second and third?
Oh, head would roll. Who's the trainer?
Well,
who's the conditioning guy? You're gone.
Remember what he called Hideki Irabu? He called him a fat toad one time. I mean, that would be an international incident as Charlie is down on strikes. 4 of those make that 5 of those for Bundy.
He's done that with great effect. He'll throw that off-speed pitch and then elevate his fastball for swings and misses.
And back to the top and Ender Inciarte. We hear all the talk around baseball that maybe this sport's going to expand. Maybe we're going to see radical realignment. Maybe we'll see the addition of the DH to the National League. Why not go the other way? Make the pitchers hit. If indeed it happens. Fly ball to left. And Rasmus will have plenty of room. He'll haul that in. Just like that, 2 are out. And Ozzie Albies the batter. Ozzie a first inning single. Bundy, like last year, at least for today, getting a ton of run support. He's got a 7-1 lead. And he needs 1 more out to qualify for his 6th victory of the season. Talented kid. Kind of impressed with him. 4th overall pick in the 2011 draft, as that one is pulled foul at first.
Yeah, you talked about his season last year, 13-9, an ERA of 4.24. 4.24 in the American League is not quite like 4+ in the National League when you're pitching against the DH all the time, especially in the American League East. I haven't played that division a lot.
First overall pick in the 2011 draft was Garrett Cole, who went to the Pirates. Danny Holtzen to Seattle, Trevor Bauer to Arizona, Bundy 4th to Baltimore. Anthony Rendon was the 6th pick. Francisco Lindor the 8th. Swing and a miss. Javi Baez 9th, Corey Spangenberg 10th, George Springer 11th. Man, it's turning out
what a draft.
Real good draft. Brandon Nimmo 13th, Jose Fernandez 14th, Sonny Gray 18th. One ball, 2 strikes. And right back up the middle of base hit. Here comes Flaherty around third. Adam Jones concedes the run. It's a 7-2 game. Good to see Ozzie doing that. He's been popping up a lot to the left side and pulling the ball in the air on the right side. That one right back through the box. And another 2-out run for the Braves.
And a good base hit his first time up. He's 2 for 3. Low pitch. The changeup, split. Right back at him. 44th RBI.
So here's how you like Freddie to hit. 2 on. However, 2 out. Freddie has struck out and flied out. He flied out on the first pitch his last time up. Still a ways to go. Braves are down 5. And pulled foul. The Braves selection in that 2011 draft was Sean Gilmartin, you might recall. No balls and a strike.
Oh, got a good pitch to hit there.
Jace Peterson was a comp pick by San Diego. He went 58th that year.
First in runners in scoring position, on base, slugging, home runs, tied for first. Braves offense need another hit with a runner in scoring position and 2 out here.
Dansby at second. Albies at first. And Bundy ready with his 0-2. Straighten him up with a fastball.
See, there's that little extra that he went to. That was 94. He's been sitting around 92.
Hit the other way and just foul. To those of us who didn't play, Joe, the difference between 92 and 94 may not sound like much. Is it when you're standing in the batter's box?
It is when you're accustomed to seeing the ball come out of a guy's hand at a certain level. And then all of a sudden it's on you a little quicker. It makes a big difference.
Bright sunshine now in the outfield. Shadows across the diamond as Freddie chased and missed. And that's 6 strikeouts for Bundy. And the Braves settle for 1 in the 5th inning. It's 7-2 now. Baltimore in front. Run down some of the reasons he deserves your vote. You can check it out on Twitter at Fox Sports Braves, and you can vote for him online at braves.com/vote for the National League All-Star squad. The All-Star game this year in Washington, D.C. And of course, as always, it will air on Big Fox. Family affair here at SunTrust Park. Baltimore, though, leads it 7-2 after 5. Luke Jackson out for his first full inning of relief. He'll have Scope, Joseph, and the pitcher spot coming up. And now, Joe, for the first time today, the shadows and bright sunshine really appear to be causing some problems.
It'll be more difficult for the hitters now than it has been.
Lazy, hazy skies for the first 4 innings or so, but the cloud cover has moved on. It's a beautiful day, but big advantage for the pitchers at this point. Popped up right side. Freddie in foul ground will have room. And that takes care of Scope for out number 1. Reds leading the Cubs 8-1. We'll see Cincinnati on Monday. The Braves split 4 games up at the Great American Ballpark earlier. Kelsey told you Anthony DeSclafani is pitching and hit a grand slam. That's a pretty good day. Cubs have a bullpen day for their starter. Cardinals at last report were losing in Milwaukee. Well, they've turned that around. It's now St. Louis 3, Brewers 2 in the 6th inning, I believe.
Well, Kid Aguilar, big day yesterday for Milwaukee.
Game-winning home run. In the last month, he's hit 12 homers.
He had a tying homer in the 7th, winner in the 9th.
And he has forced himself into their lineup. So much so that he's playing first base And
Thames.
Eric Thames is now playing the outfield. He only had a handful of games in the outfield in his career.
Boy, they've got an overflow of outfielders already.
I believe Ryan Braun hurt. I believe Ryan Braun's hurt or hurting.
That may be the reason.
So it opens up a little bit of time for Thames out there. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, another club we'll see on the upcoming road trip, really a tough team to figure out. St. Louis is 18-23 in their last 41 games, which, you know, that'll happen. What's so shocking for a Cardinal franchise that has long prided itself on playing the game the right way and fundamentally sound, 40 errors in their last 41 games. As that ball's in the dirt, Joseph will be thrown out at first. That's the second out of the inning.
40 and 41.
Yep.
Wow.
Not to mention they've been thrown out on the base paths 51 times, which also is the most in the National League. And there's a lot of heat on Mike Matheny and that Cardinal staff. They've missed the playoffs the last 2 seasons, and they are not used to that in Cardinal country.
There's been some heat on him for the last 2 years at least. You know, he's been there a while now, but a lot of people were giving credit to what he inherited and not so much whatever his managerial ability might be because of how good they already were when he took over.
Right. But St. Louis winning today and entered today's action 6.5 games behind the Brewers. 0-2 is taken low. 1 ball 2 strikes to Dylan Bundy, who had his first big league hit back in the 5th inning and scored on Chris Davis's 3-run double. Not to mention he's winning the game from the mound with 2 runs and 6 hits allowed. That one shot toward left. Chance for Culberson, who makes easy work of a sinking line drive. Jackson 3 up 3 down in the 6th. He's retired 4 straight overall. Hitting, it's the stretch presented by Advance Auto Parts. The amazing thing, and sometimes the exasperating thing about Major League Baseball, is that any team can beat anybody else on any given day. And we talked about this during the last homestand, the importance of this 12 out of 14 stretch at home for the Braves against struggling clubs, the Mets, the Padres, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. Barring a comeback here, the Orioles are going to win a road series against the Atlanta Braves, who lead their division, and Baltimore entered town with the worst record in the major leagues.
you've said it more than once. Not who you play, it's when you play them, and they're playing a little better. They did the Braves a favor in Washington, played well up there, and it reminds me so much of that series against the Giants the first week of May when the Giants weren't doing anything. They come to town, they sweep the Braves, and Braves were never in any of those games. And then San Francisco went to Philadelphia and got swept 4 games.
Yeah. You sent it out to Dwayne Kuiper and said, what's up with that?
Yeah, well, did you send your team home?
So we'll see if Atlanta can come back. They've got 12 outs left. And the 6th inning starts with Nick Markakis, who drove home the Braves' first run. A 1-out single in the 1st inning. He struck out in his other time at the plate. And that's taken low, ball 1. Interesting story in New York tonight. The Dodgers will play the Mets. Great matchup. Jacob deGrom is pitching for New York. That's one half of the storyline. The other half of that matchup is Clayton Kershaw, who was scheduled to make a minor league rehab start in Omaha. But apparently there's bad weather in the Midwest. The Dodgers didn't want to risk that, so he's essentially going to make his rehab start in the major leagues against the Mets tonight.
Same thing.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Of course.
I'm kidding, but yeah, kind of pushing that up then a little bit.
Yeah. I would assume there will be a pitch count, and I assume that they will watch him very carefully as Markakis takes a base on balls to start the inning.
But any other time that matchup would be
must-see TV.
Absolutely.
deGrom, by the way, those who believe you should eliminate the win. Last 11 starts, Jacob deGrom a 0.90 ERA. The Mets are 3-8 in those games.
There's still talk about the Mets setting up shop and opening up for business, making people available. And if you come knocking on the door for one of those pitchers, deGrom or Syndergaard, really any of those guys, you better bring your wagon.
No balls and a strike for Kurt Suzuki, who has a double today. And that missed inside. 1-1. Who are we to tell Sandy Alderson how to run his team? But this has turned into an utterly disastrous year for the Mets after the first 2 weeks had so much promise. Remember, the Mets were 11-1. They can't get Cespedes on the field. They can't keep him on the field in his minor league rehabs. As this one's hit up the middle, a base hit. 2 on, nobody out. Jones got to it quickly. Markakis stops at second base. But it seemed, Joe, overnight after those first 2 weeks, the Mets aged 100 years. Jay Bruce is creaky. Adrian Gonzalez was released. Dominic Smith was called up. Cabrera had the hamstring problems when we saw him. Rosario wasn't hitting. Jose Reyes can't hit anymore. As Jackson will probably try to lay down a bunt here.
Yeah, getting a little last-minute coaching there from Ron Washington. Probably reminding him where he wants to try and bunt it if he can. Braves able to get 1 run last inning. Would have been nice to get another, but chance to get a couple more here. If he can get a bunt down, a beauty.
It is a beauty. There's the tag by Davis. Nice sacrifice by Jackson.
You get an at-bat out of the bullpen. That's rare. You get an opportunity to get a bunt down, and you do on the first pitch. What a bonus. Good job.
And for fans who might say, okay, you got 2 on, nobody out, why are you giving away an out here? Why wouldn't you pinch hit? Well, the bench is already short. Braves have already pinch hit, or I should say brought Charlie Culberson in a double switch. They need innings out of Jackson more than they need a run right now, if that makes sense.
Well, I was going to say the bench is short and the bullpen shot.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they've had to use so many guys last night in 15 innings. You're just trying to protect those guys the best you can.
So Jackson gets the job done. Now it's up to Flaherty and Swanson and Culberson to try to cut into this 5-run lead.
And the infield's back. A ground ball will get you 1.
Hey, remember what Jeff Rancourt said when he was with us in the booth? If you think about just getting 1, sometimes you might get 2.
Right.
As Flaherty turned on that ball and pulled it foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. So potentially the Braves get the best of all worlds here. They get the sacrifice. They can keep Jackson in the game. Now can they get a couple of runs out of it? 1 ball, 2 strikes. One and 2. Breaking ball frozen. And there's the second out.
Strikeout number 7 for Bundy. Backdoor breaking ball. Ryan gave up on it because it looked like it was going to be high coming out of his hand, but it, according to pitch tracks, caught the corner.
So that's 7 strikeouts for the Baltimore right-hander. Dansby Swanson, the hitter. 2 on, but now 2 out.
First called 3rd strike. Dansby's had some guys on base the last 2 days. A lot of base runners in scoring position, and he's been at his best this year with 2 out and runners on. Find a hole, find a gap.
As that pitch was made, all of a sudden the clouds covered the sun, so no shadows at all, which might be of benefit. However, it's an 0-2 count.
Our statistician to the Stars today, Chan Hartzog, I'd like for you to keep track of how many times the sun comes out, please. Sorry, did you hear me, Chan? Apparently not.
0-2 pitch. Fly ball lifted toward right. Trumbo rumbling and gets to the track and makes the play, and that retires the side. Atlanta got 2 on, nobody out, couldn't push them in. We go to the 7th.
And they're going to need all they can get from him today, because last night, the 15 innings, there are 3 guys who the Braves are going to try to stay away from. Shane Carl, Peter Moylan, and Jesse Biddle. They all threw over 25 pitches. So they're hoping Arodys Vizcaino is good. He does seem like he's good to go. And then they also did option down Preston Tucker to Gwinnett, and they brought up Lucas Sims to add some more depth to that bullpen. He was slated to start today, guys, so he will be ready to go in any capacity that the Braves need.
Well, they haven't needed him yet, as Jackson's retired 4 straight. He got a sacrifice down as Colby Rasmus leads off and swings and misses. Part of that sacrifice play, very simply, if you give up an out, you get 2 men in scoring position. A hit gets you runs 3 and 4. Your relief pitcher can stay in the game. That's why the Braves didn't pinch hit. Didn't work out, though, as Flaherty struck out and Swanson flied out to right.
Yeah, everything was according to plan. I mean, in terms from the Braves standpoint, about saving the bullpen and trying to set up some RBIs.
Atlanta's left 6 on, Baltimore 2. They've gotten 2 gigantic hits with the bases loaded. A Trumbo grand slam in the first, Davis double in the 5th. And that's accounted for all 7 of their runs. Rasmus has scored twice. Jones has scored twice. Machado once. That's the trio coming up. That sliced out a play foul. A swing and a miss. Rasmus retired. Second strikeout for Jackson. 1 up, 1 down after the Padres take care of Baltimore in the 7th. It's the stretch presented by Advance Auto Parts. Don't forget, after the game, they've got the big post-game concert. Big Boy is here. Big crowd here to see him. As that's up and into Adam Jones, ball 1. Not sure if Adam Jones will stay in Baltimore or go somewhere else to continue what's been a brilliant major league career. As he swings and misses there, it's a ball and 2 strikes. I wonder, Joe, if he'd be better served at this stage in his career to move out of center and become a corner guy. He doesn't have to run so far. There's some who say he's lost a step or 2. At least that's what the defensive metrics are saying about him.
It might be long-term best for him. There are some teams that could use a center fielder that are in contention. I always think of the Giants, who are, seems like, perennially looking for a center fielder, and they're only 5 games out.
Kurt might have taken some punishment on that last pitch, so extra time here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Phillies have taken the lead in Washington. That's 3-2 in the 7th. The pitch here is skipped up there, and Kurt got popped again. It's beginning to shift just a little bit. It's starting to blow in towards home plate. It's been blowing from right to left most of the afternoon. As Jones swings and misses, that takes care of him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jackson. That's 3 in total, and Machado hits with the bases empty.
That was a really good pitch from Jackson. 3-2 slider. He's got a good fastball, but this one was in a great spot.
Machado has walked, scored, grounded out, and lined out. He was late there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Again, will Machado stay in Baltimore? If he signs a free agent contract, will he be able to dictate where he wants to play? He wants to be a shortstop. He's an outstanding third baseman too. That one's called a strike.
Who was it that plunked him more than once and got into a little scuffle? Somebody in the American League East, wasn't it?
Was that in Boston?
Might have been. You remember?
Was that the Dustin Pedroia day where he was pointing at his head and saying,
it could have been.
That didn't come from me after Pedroia had gotten hit? That was in the final days of John Farrell's manager's
It got
job.
ugly. I know that.
The Red Sox. 2-2 pitch is bounced into the Baltimore dugout, foul.
He's a very talented player. Can do anything you want him to do on the field.
In a way,
it was against Boston.
Was it? I was saying, in a way, he's like Freddie Freeman a couple of years ago. In the midst of a real bad year, he still puts up great numbers. And that one got behind Charlie, and that is trouble. It dies at the base of the wall. Machado around second. He's on his way to third. And that is where he's going to stop with 2 outs. Valiant effort by Culberson. He couldn't come up with it. And Machado made his way to third base and stands there with 2 outs.
Good try by Charlie. Came up short, and now he's in a foot race with the baseball.
And I would assume as an outfielder at number 1.
How about this guy? If he had run out of the box, if he had hustled, he might have had a chance to score.
Yeah. I was going to say for Charlie, 2 nightmares. 1, the ball's behind you, and then 2, it dies at the fence. It doesn't roll back to you. As this one's launched toward right off the bat of Trumbo. Markakis is back. And no harm, no foul. Machado left stranded 90 feet away. Time to stretch. It's all Baltimore in game 2.
The Stretch is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts and in part by CarQuest Motor Oil.
Welcome to The Stretch. Jerome and Nick out here on the Fox Sports set in the heart of the Battery. And Nick, we saw Ozzie Albies cut more base knocks today. Now he's been leading for the starting second base spot in the National League voting. We want you to keep voting for Ozzie, and of course Freddie, Nick, and all your favorite Braves. But Ozzie Albies, how could you not send this guy to Washington, D.C. for no other reason than to see that helmet fly off when he rounds first?
You have to sit him. He's been phenomenal all season long. Great defense. He's swinging the bat well. Went into a little bit of a slump, but he's back on track, going the other way from the left side of the plate. Leads the National League in extra base hits. He has 7 game-winning RBIs. That's tied for 6th in the National League. Great defense, could win a Gold Glove at some point. One of the most exciting young players in the game. You have to continue to vote for Ozzie Albies.
Extra base hits and doubles, still leading the league in the top second and third in runs and home runs. Other than that very first homestand, after that when they went out west and it got cold, he heated up. I know Juan Soto's a phenomenal young player. Is there a more exciting young player in Major League Baseball right now than Ozzie, the way he has taken this season by storm?
I don't think there's a more exciting young player. No, I love what Ozzie does. He goes out hard out of the box every time he gets a base hit. He wants to try to get to second base. The helmet flies off all the time. He's got speed, provides great defense, and making adjustments. That's the key with Ozzie Albies. I don't think this kid's slowing down. You just have to continue to vote. Scooter Jeanette's creeping up, and Javi Baez. You know those Cubs fans are going to continue to vote for Baez.
All right, before we get you back to Chip and Joe, quick word from our friends at Advance Auto Parts.
Visit your nearest Advance Auto Parts store to get the quality parts you want from people that know a lot about them. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back on the road.
Home 7th coming up at 7-2 Baltimore, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but to quote my partner, starting to cloud up at the old ballpark, isn't it?
It sure is. Dark clouds. Ed Mangan out to talk to the umpires between innings 2.
Charlie Culberson drives one a mile down the left field line, and that's into the seats foul. It's a strike. The dark clouds are off to our right and slowly moving this way, or maybe not so slowly.
Yeah, they're kind of moving in a west-northwest, or excuse me, east-northeast direction there, Chip.
Thank you.
At about 15 to 20 miles an hour.
Foul away to the right side. It's 0-2. Little known fact for you baseball fans out there, Joe does an internship every summer with Jim Cantori at the Weather Channel. Swing and a miss. Bundy takes care of Culberson. And there's the first out here in the 7th inning.
That guy's in good shape.
Yep.
Hard to keep up with.
Yeah, he is. Did you see his commercial, by the way? One that Jim Cantori did. He's on vacation, shows up at the beach, and everybody starts running for cover because they think a hurricane's on the way. It's great. And what's going on here?
Well, I thought we were about to have a pitching change and a double switch, but all the outfielders are side out rotating.
Look at Rasmus. He's skipping to right field. Trumbo's going to come out of the game. And the rain has begun to fall here, and that's going to be the last pitch thrown by Bundy, and boy was he good. 8 strikeouts and 6 in the 3rd innings. And it's 7-2 with, as we told you, the bad weather upon us here at SunTrust Park.
Fastest internet with the best in-home Wi-Fi experience. And by Delta Airlines.
Light but steady rain has begun to fall here at SunTrust Park. Interestingly, all 4 umpires have not left the field of play. They're standing right by the Baltimore on deck circle where Ed Mangan is walking across the tarp, making sure everything's battened down properly with the bad weather upon us. It appears to be a pretty fast moving storm, but we are in a delay here at the ballpark with the Orioles up by a 7-2 score. We had a gully washer here around this time yesterday, and this is part of the joy of working in the southeastern part of the country. All that heat and humidity builds, and then in the early evening hours, Mother Nature unloads with the wet weather. So don't know how long the delay will be. It appears to be a fast passing shower. Hopefully that'll be the case. We are in a weather delay in Atlanta, where Baltimore leads late in game 2. Ball players drinking coffee, I guess is what we'd call that series. You can check it out at Fox Sports Braves online.
That was terrific.
It was great. And Peter is one of my favorite Braves of all time. He is a delightful guy, and thanks to him for spending some time with Birdie. And a great feature as we get set to resume play here in the 7th inning. Donnie Hart is in the center of the diamond. We are awaiting. What are we waiting for here?
We need
base coaches. There we go. There we go. Eric Young is on his way out. Now we're set to go. 1 out in the 7th inning. It's Donnie Hart out of Fulshear, Texas, and Texas State University. 5'10", 170-pound left-hander. And he'll face Ender Inciarte. And I can imagine this would be a tough at-bat for any lefty.
Craig Gentry went to left. Colby Rasmus went to right. Trumbo out of the game. Hart just called up. He's been in 6 games. 3 strikeouts in 6 2/3.
The Orioles have named their minor league pitcher of the year award after Jim Palmer, and Hart won that honor 2 years ago. He was their minor league pitcher of the year and Eastern League All-Star with Bowie back in 2016. And how about that piece of work by Ender? He punches an 0-2 pitch into left field.
Oh, is that lovely. You know that little backhand drop shot that you see guys use in tennis? Here it is right here. Right down the line.
You know what that was like? That was Ichiro-like.
Yeah, it kind of was, wasn't it?
Only thing is Ender didn't run up in the box like Ichiro does.
That was something else right there.
So a 2-hit game for Ender, who was on base 4 times yesterday. Now Albee is a switch hitter. Drives one out of play, foul for a strike. Hart's first big league action came in 2016. He retired
and then came back.
Well, 46 hitters. 46 hitters before he gave up his first run. I had to make sure I read that right. 15 1/3 scoreless innings without giving a run to start your career. Smart Alec. He's too young to retire. He's only.
This was a remarkable comeback.
Well, it could be. He's only 28 years old. Pitch. Actually, he'll be 28 in September. He's a twin, by the way. He has a fraternal twin sister. Any guesses as to what her name would be?
His name is Donnie. Her name is Connie.
Close.
Bonnie.
Donna.
Donna.
Donnie and Donna. Fly ball down the right field line. Rasmus a long run, and he doesn't get there. It's foul. He wasn't skipping after that ball like he was moving from left to right. And a nice sliding try by Rasmus, who will make a friend here at SunTrust Park. Ball and 2 strikes. Nice find for Baltimore. Hart, a 27th round pick in the draft. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a base hit to left. So here the Braves go. 2 on, nobody out. Excuse me, 1 out. And Freddie Freeman coming up.
Well, Freddie has certainly seen his share of this type of pitcher. He may not have faced Hart before, but he has a lot of these guys brought in to pitch to him.
Let's see if he can go the other way here. First and second, 1 out. Freddie 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts in the game. Ball 1.
Now that was odd right there. He comes set in his stretch, but he's got his glove in such a position when he comes set that he has to move his head and look around his glove to check the runner at second. Wouldn't it be easier to move the glove?
Can't say I've ever seen that before.
No.
Two and 0. Surest way for the Braves to creep back in this game would be bases on balls and hits to left-handed hitters. Ender singled on an 0-2 count. Albies hitting right-handed, a base hit, his third of the game, and now Freddie ahead 2-0. That looked down, but he got the call. 2 balls and a strike.
I'm hoping he'll try to trick Freddie with a breaking ball and throw it at him. And hook it into the chop house.
Freddie looked back at Lance Barksdale to make sure that was called a ball, and it was. The Orioles bullpen is busy. 3 balls and a strike. Another left-handed bat on deck. Let's see what Freeman gets here. That swept off the plate, and the bases are loaded for Atlanta. So here we are in this often exciting time of the game for the Braves. Late inning production.
That's why we encourage all of you always to stick around regardless of the score. That's when they do their best work. Best on base percentage, second best average, and 29 home runs in the last 3 innings.
And I've got an astounding 133 runs.
This guy won't flinch either.
Nope.
So be interesting to see how he tries to pitch Nick.
And I would assume from Buck Showalter's perspective, and it's only an assumption, he knows how well Markakis and Freeman hit lefties. This is more about the funky delivery for Hart as much as it is the lefty-lefty matchup. Different look, different arm angle. But so far, not very good results. He's got the bases loaded and has not retired a hitter. There is an out in the inning. Line drive hammered over Rasmus's head. That's off the face of the wall. That's going to score 2. Freeman will be stopped at third base. It's a 7-4 game, and here we go.
How about old Reliable the last 2 games late in the ball game?
Pretty good, huh?
Yep.
So Hart came in after the brief rain delay. His job was to navigate through all these left-handed bats, and he didn't get anybody out. Hits by Inciarte, Albies, and Markakis. A Freeman walk sandwiched in between. Atlanta has scored twice in the 7th inning with 1 out, and we got a ball game all of a sudden. It is now 7-4. Atlanta trailing here in game 2. Seven-4 game. Atlanta batting here in the 7th inning.
At Rooms to Go, you can go any way you want. Go style, go savings, go today.
So Kurt Suzuki will dig in for the Braves. He will face Michael Givens, who's an interesting story. He was a second-round pick by the Orioles in 2009, and in 2013 was converted from shortstop to a pitcher. Last year he went 8-1 and pitched in 69 games.
Throws hard. Got a good arm. Can hit 97 or better.
Little shoulder turn as well, and he broke the bat of Suzuki. Looks the runner back and throws to first in time. That's something he did very well last year. He retired 51 of 69 first batters faced and stranded 30 of 47 inherited base runners. Givens out of Tampa, Florida. He's only 27 years old and is 18-7 as a major league relief pitcher.
Well, that hurt. Again, all the Braves needed was a ground ball because the infield was back, but unfortunately the ground ball was right back to the pitcher. So second and third, one out a couple of innings ago in the sixth inning and didn't score. Have two in here with second and third, one out. Now there's two out.
And Johan Camargo will pinch hit for Jackson, who gave the Braves 2 1/3 innings of scoreless relief. Remember, in the early weeks of this season, this was a spot where the Braves were guaranteed to score a couple of runs. That's dried up a little bit. 2 big runs to potentially get here, as there's that 96-mile-an-hour heat. 1 ball, 1 strike. Camargo had a couple of hits, drove in a run, scored 1 as well. Struck out 3 times in his appearances in the 15-inning affair last night. Almost to the backstop. Lucky stab there by Joseph. Now it's 3-1. Freeman and Markakis, the Braves base runners, and now Camargo's aboard. Atlanta's got him loaded with 2 out. Now Flaherty the batter. Ryan's got a hit. Well, one former Oriole has a 2-run scoring play. Let's see if Flaherty can add another one. Braves so far 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position in this game, trailing by 3 runs. Change up, fouled away, strike 1.
That's what he couldn't get over to Camargo that resulted in a walk.
Ball 1, strike 1 to the Braves third baseman. Jones playing pretty shallow center. And straight up for Flaherty. The pitch. Ground ball up the middle. Stope gets it. Long throw to first, and it's going to be in time. And that retires the side. Atlanta had him at second and third with 1 out. They settled for 2 in the 7th. Givens puts out a fire. It's a 7-4 Baltimore lead. 7-4 is your score. We are through 7 complete innings in Atlanta. Braves have out-hit the Orioles 10-7, but they have struggled with runners in scoring position, and they've left a bunch of guys on base. 9 of them, in fact, so far. Johan Camargo remains in the game to play third base. Sam Freeman is on to pitch. Freeman will hit in Flaherty's spot, which is 7th on the Braves lineup card.
Sam came in last night to try to put out the fire in the 9th inning that Dan Winkler was having trouble with, but Sam was unable to do that. 3rd of an inning, 3 hits, 2 runs.
Davis, Valencia, and Scope, the trio up for the Birds here in the 8th inning. 7-4, Baltimore in front. Cardinals lead Milwaukee 3-2. That game's in the bottom of the 9th inning. Yadier Molina's hit a couple of home runs for St. Louis. Dodgers and Mets later on tonight. Kershaw and DeGrom, the featured matchup. Down to play foul. Davis behind in the count now, 1-2. Davis cleared the bases in the 5th inning with a 3-run double. Miami beat Colorado 6-2 today. Phillies 5-3 over Washington in the 9th. Reds clobbering the Cubs 11-2 in the 9th. The 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 right down the middle, and Davis knew it. He strikes out for the 2nd time. Freeman starts his 8th inning in good fashion. 1 out.
Good heater right there.
Here's Danny Valencia. And perfectly named for a club that wears an orange uniform. As that's taken high, 1 ball, no strikes. Little tapper over the mound. That's tough play. Dansby's got it and fires to first. What a stretch. And what a play by the Braves shortstop.
I'm telling you, you can have 0 complaints about anything going on with the Braves defensively, especially on the infield, and especially the guys up the middle. They have been outstanding. Great job by Dansby there.
And Jonathan Scope, the batter, he's lined out, struck out, and fouled out. 0 for 3. Yeah, the emphasis on run prevention in baseball, I guess the last 5 years, maybe less or more by a year or so, is such that I think I'm almost surprised now when a ground ball gets through an infield anywhere. So much of an emphasis on positioning and range and the defensive shifts that we've talked about earlier.
The good athletes that are playing those positions.
Excellent point. But it still goes back to one of the oldest adages in the game. Be strong up the middle defensively. And Atlanta certainly is, with a Gold Glover in center, Albies and Swanson at second and short respectively. That's downstairs. Ball 3 to Scope. Base is empty, 2 outs.
Pretty good pitch there. 3-1 split finger. Good changeup.
So let's see what Sam has in mind on a full count pitch. It's a ground ball. Dansby to his left. Scoops, fires, and he got him. Dansby put on a defensive show in the 8th inning. And Sam Freeman very happy about that. 3 up and 3 down. And guess who's leading off? The man that showed off that great glove work. Dansby Swanson gets the 8th inning started in a 3-run game. Inning. And Dansby Swanson is the man leading off for the Braves, and all of a sudden the cloud cover is gone and the shadows are in play again.
Yeah, third time.
Third time?
Yep. Jan's keeping record of it.
How come it doesn't happen when the Orioles hit?
Right.
Well, let's see if Dansby can pick up his first hit of the day. He's 0 for 2, but has walked. And Givens delivers a quick strike. Dylan Bundy, 6 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs. Julio Teheran, 7 runs, 6 hits in 4 2/3 innings. A grand slam and a bases loaded double. Counted for all 7 of his runs allowed. Grand slam came in the first inning, and the Braves have had to scratch and claw their way back ever since.
Yeah, that was a pretty good hole with Bundy pitching. But they're in striking distance. 6 outs left for them.
No balls, 2 strikes. And Dansby's retired. A swing and a miss. That's the 9th Brave to be struck out of the game. 8 of them by Bundy. Givens has his first. And Charlie Culberson's the batter.
And that had some stuff on it. 97 up and in on his hands.
Foul away, and a strike. Braves and Orioles wrap up the series here tomorrow. Braves live at 1 o'clock. First pitch 1:35. Brandon McCarthy will get the ball for Atlanta. David Hess is going to pitch for the Orioles. Oh, 2.
I was halfway expecting to see Mike Fultonevich come back and pitch tomorrow. but as with Acuna, as with Soroka, they're taking great care with Mike also, not rushing that, making sure he's ready to go.
And I believe the plan is for Mike to pitch Monday in the opener of that Red Series. We'll see if that proves to be the case. Ground ball on a 2-strike count. What an approach. Man, oh man, are we seeing a ton of 2-strike hits in the big leagues this year or what?
This was a mirror image of what Ender did. Charlie's is on the ground, but a slider away from him. He just threw the barrel at it and found a hole. Nice job. Put the ball in play. That's way better than a strikeout.
And Charlie takes what Givens him. Just saying, top of the order now. Here's Ender.
What time you got, Chan?
Ender's got 2 hits. 7 2-strike hits in today's game.
Wow.
7 of the 18. Oh, excuse me. 7 of the 11 hits for the Braves are with 2 strikes. Well, we know the Orioles have 2 2-strike hits. Adam Jones a double and Trumbo a 1-2 grand slam. Runner goes. Pitch low, throw high, and a great job by Machado to save that from sailing into center field. So a stolen base for Culberson.
Not sitting pat. Tried to take advantage if he's not going to pay attention to you, and he did. Joseph's throw a little higher than the one last night when he threw out a base runner, caught Santana stealing. Charlie's second.
And fouled away by Ender. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Phillies beat Washington. That's a final 5-3. Phillies are rolling all of a sudden. That was Nola and Fetty for Washington. Phillies beat them 12-2 yesterday. Pickoff play. Throw was high. The 1-2 lifted toward left. And Gentry's there to make the play. That's out number 2. Gentry, Jones, and Rasmus left to right in the Baltimore outfield. That one hit right to the Orioles left fielder. And now Ozzie Albies looks to pick up a 4th hit today. He's 3 for 4 with a run and an RBI. Gives him a 5-game hitting streak. 8 hits in those 5 games now.
It's a good sign. Raised his average 6 points today with those 3 hits. Ender's getting on base. He's getting hits.
That means Freddie and Nick Markakis are batting with men on base.
Mm-hmm.
And a chance perhaps for Freeman, who waits on deck if Albies can reach with 2 outs. Not close. Ball 2. Little hopper hit towards Scope at second. He bobbles. Everybody's safe. And Freeman's coming up with a chance to tie the game. Givens got the ground ball he wanted, but Scope couldn't handle it cleanly. And Albies is aboard for the 4th time in the game.
And good things happen for him, even on a little chopper when he hits it on the ground. He puts pressure on the defense. results in an infield hit. He's 4 for 5 today and gets Freddie to the plate, representing the tying run.
Freddie's 0 for 3 with a walk, and Joseph offering Givens some scouting information as to how to attack the Braves first baseman.
He's 2 for 10 in the series. He struck out twice today. Struck out once last night.
Beware the first pitch, Mr. Givens. Joseph out in front of the plate with his defensive signals. And now Freddie digs in. First and third, 2 outs, tying run at the plate. Taken high, ball 1. Almost to the backstop.
Charlie may have distracted him that time. Charlie was halfway down the line. Valencia way off the line at third base for Freeman. Get a good pitch to hit.
2 balls, no strikes. And he throws it away. A run is in. Albies around second. He'll stop there. It's 7-5. A throwing error.
All help appreciated. No chance for Davis. Horrible throw.
So a single could bring home Albies. Freddie's ahead in the count, 2-0. Now it's 3-0 with Markakis on deck. Nick's had a great series. 4 hits, 4 RBIs.
Green light for sure for Freddie. Very small strike zone.
And on 4 pitches, Freeman walks. He just walked the tying run. Now the go-ahead run stands in. But first, Roger McDowell will stride to the mound and settle down Givens.
I'm curious, I mean, if they have the lead going to the 9th, who they would use to try to finish the ball game. With Britton out with an injury, Brock was the guy who was picking up saves when they got their rare opportunities. He has 10, but Britton got lit up last night. And that's Brock loosening up now.
Yeah, Brock went 2/3 of an inning, allowing a hit and a strikeout last night. Britton gave up 5 hits and 4 runs
in a third of an inning.
Yeah. Well, let's make it academic. See if Markakis can hit a home run here, put the Braves in front, and then close them out 1-2-3 in the 9th. Atlanta with another 7th, 8th, or 9th inning run has pulled to within 2. The tying runs are aboard here. Markakis has hit the ball hard almost every time up in this series. A 3 RBI day today. He's also walked. And strike 1 called. Generous outside corner.
Big advantage here, representing the tying run for Freddie at first base. Not holding him on, he can get a good sized lead. He can go on contact and not have to worry about whether or not the ball is going to be caught or not. And if somehow it finds an opening, he can circle.
Oh, what a cut. That took off the mask of Joseph as it whistled by. And now Nick has a 1-2 count.
Got both of them.
Oh, yeah, it was the foul
Mask.
ball that got the umpire's
Yeah.
mask, not the catcher. And Lance Barksdale says he's all right. Nick will step out, let the umpire clear his head for a moment. He says he's all right. And now Markakis back to work. Again, the Braves with last report 7 two-strike hits in this game. And Markakis come up with an 8th.
He was all over that high slider, high cutter, whatever that was.
Strike 3 called, and that's the inning. Markakis didn't think so, and a couple of Braves are stranded. Braves settle for 1 in the 8th. 7-5 now. Bright and sunny. It always except the score. Orioles lead by 2 runs after 8. Peter Moylan is going to come on and face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for Baltimore and try to hold them right there and give the Braves another crack with their final 3 outs available.
Suffered the loss last night when he gave up the home run to Machado, and it snapped a string of 208 consecutive games he had appeared in without registering a loss. Hold him right there.
So it'll be Joseph, Gentry, and Rasmus for the Orioles. Joseph has struck out twice in 3 trips. That's in for a strike. Big tip of the cap to Luke Jackson. 2 1/3 innings of 1 hit ball in relief of Julio Teheran today. Sam Freeman a 1-2 3/8.
Yeah, that was a real pick-me-up for the rest of the pen to go 2 1/3. Well done by Luke.
That's driven foul down the right field line. Nice play by the ball boy on a big hop. And still 0-2 for Caleb Joseph. Jacob deGrom's human. He's given up a first inning run to the Dodgers. If I had to bet my mortgage, I'd guess it's a home run by somebody. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. There's the sweeping slider of Peter Moylan. So tough when he's right against right-hand hitters. And his ninth inning off to a good start. 1 out. That's 11 Orioles hitters down on strikes.
Started it at the center. Break it off the outside. That was nice.
It was a home run for the Dodgers. Any guesses as to who?
Guy that was crushing the Braves.
A guy we couldn't get out. Max Muncy. Off deGrom. Swing and a miss by Craig Gentry, who's getting his first at bat of this game. Gentry started, led off last night, had 2 hits, drove in a run. And a good fastball from Peter. 0-2.
Good pitch. Crossfire. Just didn't get the call. Good pitch.
That one didn't stick. Tough break. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Time for Peter's 11th pitch of the inning. And here it comes. And he struck him out. 90 right down the middle, and Gentry couldn't make contact. 2 up, 2 down. Here's Rasmus.
Wasn't it interesting listening to him talk to Paul Byrd about how he had picked up 5 or 6 miles an hour suddenly when he started throwing from down under, and attributed it, and rightfully so, to growing a little bit, putting on some muscle and being a little stronger. But very fascinating, and to go from the beer leagues of Australia in 6 months to pitching in the big leagues. What a story.
Well, and that he was smart enough to figure it out on his own just by playing catch in the outfield. As we heard him say last night, I think, he just started throwing on the same swing plane as when he swung the bat, and all of a sudden there was no pain. And then something clicked, and here he is. Pretty amazing story. And a great find for the Braves, who saw Peter pitching the World Baseball Classic in Orlando, where the Braves have spring training. I mean, how fortunate was that to see him, like him, and then sign him. So far today, pitching like the Peter Moylan of old. The 0-2 pitch is grounded towards second. Ozzie from deep second makes the play, and Peter Moylan right back on the horse. A 1-2-3 ninth inning. Last call for Atlanta. Kurt Suzuki leads off in a 2-run game. and exclusively online. Vote for your favorite Braves at braves.com/vote. And as we've told you, catch all the fun of the 89th MLB All-Star Game, brought to you by MasterCard, July 17th, and live on Fox. Well, it won't be Brock. Look who it will be for the Orioles.
Running him right back out there. He had a tough time last night. Check out the numbers. He's only been in 5 games after the comeback from Achilles injury this time. Third of an inning, 5 hits, 4 runs last night. He's battled some arm trouble the last couple of years with some forearm issues, but still one of the best in the game when he's healthy. And the truck tells me that Kurt Suzuki moved into 3rd place in the catcher voting today.
Great. So keep voting for Kurt if you're so inclined. Let's see what he can do in the 9th. Braves need a base runner and then a blast to get it tied. 7-5 Orioles, 3 outs left. And a strike from Britton, who was born in Panorama City, California, lives in Weatherford, Texas. In the dirt for an even count.
He throws a slider when he's right. He throws a slider, but not that often. Relies mostly on his fastball.
Zach Britton was originally a starting pitcher all the way through his minor league career. In fact, his first major league year in 2011, he started 28 games and won 11 of them. He moved full-time to the bullpen in 2014. All he did that year in his first season in relief is pitching 71 games with 37 saves. He went 3-2 with a 165 that season. 36 saves the following year, 47 saves in 2016, 15 saves last year.
If he can prove that he is healthy, he'll be another guy on their list at the trading deadline.
And so few saves because those forearm problems Joe was talking about. 2-2 for Kurt. And he's hanging tough. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Suzuki, Camargo, and then we'll see. Peter Moylan's spot is due 3rd in this inning. Braves have Tyler Flowers and Peter Borges left as extra players. And off-speed pitch, and Kurt way out in front.
There was the slider.
That was Billy Wagner like right there. And there's the first out. 1 man down.
And it's certainly enough off the fastball that it has Kurt out on his front foot. Couldn't lay off.
So here's Camargo, a sacrifice in this spot of the batting order from Luke Jackson, and then Johan came on in the 7th inning and walked. Danny Santana started hitting 6th and went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. In the dirt, 2-0. Peter Borges has grabbed a bat. Looks like he'll be the man assigned to hit for Peter Moylan here.
He's been swinging it well.
Dansby Swanson, Charlie Culberson also lurking. The 2-0 pitch.
That was an ambush swing and didn't get it where he thought he would get it. It was outside and he was looking for something middle in, but was still hacking.
And right there again, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Last night when the Braves were raining hits on Zach Britton, he didn't have any of this movement that he's got today. Ball was straight and in the middle of the plate.
Yeah, Peter Moylan much better today than last night. Same for Britton, who's also back on the horse and needs 2 outs to secure a win. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now it's full. Camargo's not afraid to take a walk. Braves need a couple of base runners. Johan's walked 26 times. It's 3rd most on the team. The 3-2 pitch. Off the catcher, who took some punishment. Joseph says he's all right.
Think up the middle. Might get that one down and away again if you're trying to pull him.
It's ball 4, and the tying run comes to the plate.
Good at bat.
The patience of Camargo pays off. Now Borges the batter.
How many walks is that for Johan?
I believe it's 24. Let me check that. Hang on a sec. Excuse me, 27. The only men with more are Freddie Freeman and Nick Markakis. And they have about 130 more at bats than Camargo does this year. Remember, he started on the DL. So 1 on, 1 out. Here's Borges. Ball 1. And Preston Tucker was sent to AAA today to make room for Lucas Sims. Probably wouldn't have seen him in this spot anyway as a left-handed batter, but remember, that was the roster move made. And now that Borges is in the game, Tyler Flowers the last extra player available. Broken bat, ground ball to 3rd. Valencia to 2nd for 1. On to 1st. It's not in time. Borges beat it, and Davis was off the bag. So the Braves aren't dead yet. Runner at 1st, 2 outs.
That was going to be a tough turn to get Borges, but the best thing for the Orioles was that it was a short, quick throw to 2nd. And just an errant throw by Scope. Good throw might have gotten him. Still alive.
Well, you know how this is possibly shaping up, don't you? You've got Dansby. He gets on, and then Mr. Walkoff, Charlie Culberson, comes up.
There you go.
But Dansby's got his hands full with Britton here. Runner at 1st, 2 outs. Ground ball slowly hit to 2nd. Scope's got it, and the Orioles have won the game and have already won the series. 7-5 is today's final. A 1st inning grand slam, too deep a hole for the Braves to dig out of. And tomorrow, Joe, Atlanta will try to salvage 1 of 3 behind Brandon McCarthy. Bundy the winner, Britton the save. Julio Teheran takes the loss. He's now 5-5 on the year.
12 men left on base and 8 of them in scoring position today. That's a story.
So Baltimore 7, Atlanta 5. We join you tomorrow for the final game of the series. Braves have left, by the way, 25 men on in the first 2 games. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more with you on Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. It's next.